right now. Somewhere in this country, a 22-year-old with a college degree is losing his job to a chatbot, and a 22-year-old with a wrench in his hand is about to make more money than both of his parents combined. That's not a hypothetical. That's happening today, and it all comes down to which one of 5 jobs you're in. The only 5 high-paying jobs safe from AI through 2030. Write that down, because by the time you finish this video, you're either going to be relieved or you're going to be scared straight. I've built companies, I've sold companies, I've sat on that Shark Tank stage and listened to thousands of pitches from people trying to figure out where the next opportunity is. And I'm telling you right now, I have never seen a technology move this fast, replace this many people this quickly. Not the internet, not mobile, not one of them. I lived through the internet boom. I watched mobile completely rewire how every business operated, and neither of those moved at the speed this is moving at right now. AI is different because it doesn't just replace one industry, it replaces the thinking part of almost every job at the same time. Lawyers, accountants, coders, marketers, even doctors, all of it is on the table right now. Companies are already quietly cutting entire departments and replacing them with a handful of people and a chatbot. And most of them aren't putting out a press release about it. They're just letting the layoffs happen and letting everybody assume it's a normal economic slowdown. But here's the good news, and it's the reason I'm making this video. There's still jobs, good jobs, high-paying jobs that AI cannot touch through 2030, maybe not ever. I'm going to walk you through exactly which 5, why they're protected, what the money actually looks like, and how you can position yourself or your kids to be one of the people who wins big while everyone else is panicking. Stick with me all the way through, because this is the difference between getting run over by this thing and riding it straight to the bank. Before I get into it, I need you to do one thing for me. Hit subscribe right now. I'm not saying that to pad a number. I'm saying it because what I'm about to break down is worth thousands of dollars in career decisions, and I'm giving it to you completely free. Most people pay career consultants and financial advisors real money for this kind of guidance. You're getting it because you clicked on this video today. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's get into job number 1. Job number 1 is the person who fixes the physical world. I'm talking electricians, plumbers, HVAC techs, welders, elevator repair techs, the people who show up at your house or your building when something's broken and actually put their hands on it. Here's why this job is bulletproof. AI is a language model. It's brilliant at predicting words and patterns and spitting out answers, but it does not have hands. It cannot crawl into your crawl space. It cannot run a wire through a wall built in 972 with no blueprint. It cannot smell a gas leak or feel that a pipe is about to burst. Robotics is getting better. I'll give you that. And I've invested in companies pushing that technology forward. But robotics that can operate in a messy, unpredictable, different every single time environment like a house or a commercial building is decades behind where the software side of AI is right now. Think about it this way. Software eats structured problems. A skilled trade job is the opposite of structured. Every house is wired differently. Every HVAC system is installed by a different guy, 10 or 20 years apart, with different parts from different eras. That kind of chaos is exactly what keeps a job safe from being automated. And here's the part nobody talks about. We are short millions of tradespeople in this country right now. Today, before any of this AI displacement even hits, the average age of a master electrician is pushing 50. Fewer young people are going into the trades because everybody got told for 30 years straight to go to college no matter what. So you've got a shrinking supply of skilled workers and a growing demand. And now you're about to add a wave of white-collar workers who are getting displaced and need somewhere real to go. Basic economics says that pushes wages up, not down. Supply and demand doesn't care whether the pressure comes from retirements or from AI pushing office workers to look for something new. It just cares about the number of qualified people versus the number of jobs that need doing. And right now, that math is heavily in favor of anybody willing to pick up wrench. I know electricians and plumbers who own their own shops clearing two, three, even $400,000 a year, and they didn't take on a dollar of student debt to get there. They took on a 4-year apprenticeship where they got paid to learn, and now they own an asset that AI literally cannot download, replicate, or run in the cloud. So if I was 20 years old right now, trying to figure out where to put my energy, learning a skilled trade and eventually owning the business behind it would be at the very top of my list above almost any 4-year degree I can think of. It is one of the last careers left in this country where doing real work with your hands is actually your competitive advantage instead of your liability, and the demand for it is only going one direction over the next decade. I've talked to guys who went this route straight out of high school, while their friends took on 6 figures of student loan debt for a degree that ended up leading to a job AI is now threatening anyway. 10 years later, the guy with the trade owns 3 trucks, a shop, and a crew of his own, and he's never once worried about a chatbot taking his customers. That's not a fluke story. That's the pattern playing out over and over across this entire country right now. And it's only going to get more pronounced as this AI wave hits. The office jobs everybody assumed were the safe bet. Every year that passes, the gap between what people expected from their degree and what the trades are actually paying gets a little harder to ignore. Job number 2 is hands-on healthcare. I mean, nurses, physical therapists, home health aides, occupational therapists, the people doing the actual physical work of caring for another human being every single day. Now, I want to be clear about something. AI is going to change medicine in a massive way. Diagnosis, reading scans, drafting treatment plans, catching things doctors miss, a lot of that gets faster, cheaper, and honestly more accurate because of AI. But diagnosing a problem and physically caring for a sick or aging human being are 2 completely different jobs. And people mix these up all the time. One is information. The other is touch, trust, and presence. Somebody has to help a stroke patient relearn how to walk one painful step at a time. Somebody has to turn an elderly patient in a hospital bed every couple hours so they don't get a pressure sore. Somebody has to sit with a scared patient and hold their hand before surgery, or explain to a family member what's happening in language they can actually understand. You cannot automate that, and honestly, I don't think people would want you to. Even if you could pull it off perfectly, there's also a demographic wave coming that most people are completely sleeping on. The baby boomer generation is aging into their 70s and 80s right now, and that generation is one of the largest in American history. That means the need for hands-on care is about to explode at the exact same time the workforce for it is shrinking because of retirements and burnout. That's not a small trend. That's a tidal wave, and it's happening over the next 5 to 10 years, right in the exact window we're talking about in this video. No amount of software is going to shrink that wave, because you can't code your way out of a population getting older. You can only staff your way through it with real people. So if you're in nursing school right now, or you're thinking about a career change into physical therapy or home health, you are walking into a field with guaranteed demand and very little AI exposure to the actual job itself. And by the way, this isn't just entry-level work either. Nurse practitioners, physical therapists who own their own practices, home health agency owners who staff out dozens of caregivers. These are 6-figure careers with real ownership potential built in. The robots aren't walking through the door to change a bandage or hold somebody's hand through a hard diagnosis. A human is, and that human is going to get paid very well for it for a long time to come. I've seen hospital systems roll out AI tools that genuinely help nurses work faster, flagging vital sign changes before a human would catch them, cutting down on paperwork so nurses actually get more time at the bedside instead of less. That's the real story here. This isn't AI replacing the nurse, it's AI clearing out the busy work. So the human part of the job, the part that actually requires a person, gets more time and more value attached to it. The same thing is happening with home health. Families are willing to pay a premium for a real caregiver who shows up, and that premium is only going to grow as the number of available caregivers shrinks relative to the number of aging Americans who need one. Job number 3 is the closest. This is sales, and more specifically, high-value, relationship-driven sales, enterprise deals, commercial real estate, complex financial products, anything where the buyer is nervous, the stakes are high, and trust is the entire ballgame. I've sold more deals in my career than I can even count, and I promise you, people do not buy from a chatbot when the number on the contract has a lot of zeros on it. They buy from a person they trust. Somebody who's read the room, who knows exactly when to push and when to back off, who can look someone in the eye, real or on a video call, and say, I've got you, I'll make this right. AI can write you a solid pitch deck. It can help you research a prospect in seconds instead of hours. It can even draft the follow-up email. What it cannot do is build the years of trust that closes a 7-figure contract, or read the hesitation in somebody's voice and know exactly what's actually holding them back from signing on the dotted line. That's emotional intelligence. And that's not something a language model has. No matter how smooth or convincing the writing sounds on a page, here's the thing that should really get your attention. As AI takes over more of the research and admin side of sales, the salespeople who are left standing become more valuable, not less, because now they can spend nearly all their time doing the one thing AI genuinely cannot do, which is building relationships and closing the deal in the room. I've watched companies try to automate their sales teams way before AI was even a buzzword, with online funnels and automated email sequences, and it works fine for low-dollar, low-stakes purchases, but the second the deal gets big enough to actually matter, a human being has to be sitting in that conversation. If you're good at reading people, if you can handle rejection over and over and keep coming back the next day, sales is one of the highest ceiling careers on this entire list. And it's about to get even more valuable, not less, as more of the noise around it gets automated away and companies get more selective about who they actually keep on a shrinking sales floor. I've sat across the table from buyers who had every piece of data they needed already pulled up on a screen in front of them, and they still didn't sign until they trusted the person sitting across from them. That's the part people keep underestimating. Data closes 0 deals by itself. A person closes the deal using the data as ammunition. The best salespeople I know are actually leaning into AI right now, using it to prep faster and follow up smarter so they can spend more hours in front of real buyers instead of buried in spreadsheets. And their commission checks are proving it out month after month. Job number 4 is the owner. I'm talking about entrepreneurs, the people who start and run businesses and take on real, actual risk with their own money. This one's personal to me because it's the path I took to build everything I have. Nobody can automate ownership, because ownership isn't a task on a to-do list. It's a decision to take on responsibility, risk your own capital, and be accountable when things go wrong at 2 in the morning. AI can help an entrepreneur do almost everything faster than ever before. It can write your marketing copy, build you a basic website in an afternoon, help you analyze your numbers, even generate a first draft of your business plan. But it cannot decide to bet on itself. It cannot sign the lease on the building. It cannot make the call when a shipment doesn't show up, an employee quits without notice, or a client threatens to walk right before a big payment is due. That's on you. And that responsibility is exactly what makes ownership so valuable and so rare. Here's what I really want you to understand from this video. Every single person who's about to lose their white-collar job to AI still has skills, still has industry knowledge, still has a network built up over years. The smart ones are going to take all of that and start something of their own instead of waiting around for the next job posting that might not come. And the tools to do it have never been cheaper or faster in the history of business. You can use AI to build the exact business that AI is threatening to replace you with. And I mean that seriously, not as a throwaway line. If you know an industry inside and out because you worked in it for 10 or 15 years, and now AI can help you build the software, the marketing, and the operations around that knowledge in a fraction of the time and cost it used to take. That's not a threat to you. That's the biggest opportunity of your entire career. I've watched people who spent a decade inside a boring, unsexy industry turn that knowledge into a business almost overnight because they knew exactly where the pain points were. And AI finally gave them a cheap enough way to build the solution themselves instead of pitching it to somebody else who had the resources. Owning something, whether it's a trade business, a service company, or a small brand, means you're not competing against AI for a job anymore. You're using AI as an employee that works around the clock for free. That's the actual shift happening right now. Stop thinking about how to survive AI and start thinking seriously about how to own the thing that uses it. I get pitched businesses all the time, and the ones that excite me most right now aren't the flashy AI companies trying to build the next big model. It's the regular people using existing AI tools to run leaner, smarter versions of businesses that have existed for decades. A single person running a business today with AI handling the admin can do what used to take a team of 5. That means lower overhead, higher margins, and a real shot at building wealth without needing to raise millions of dollars or hire a huge staff before you've even proven the idea works. Job number 5 is the judgment call. These are the roles where somebody has to make a high-stakes decision under real pressure and take full personal accountability for the outcome. Think emergency responders, surgeons, therapists dealing with a person in an active crisis, senior executives making a call that risks the entire company, judges, even skilled negotiators walking into a genuinely dangerous situation. What all of these have in common is that the decision has real consequences, often irreversible ones, and somebody has to own it publicly with their name attached. The AI can give a surgeon more information than they've ever had access to in the history of medicine. It can flag risks a tired human might completely miss. But when that patient is on the table and something unexpected happens mid-procedure, a human being makes the call. Because if it goes wrong, you need a person who can be held accountable, who can explain their reasoning to a board or a family, who someone can actually look in the eye afterward. You cannot use an algorithm and get a real satisfying answer. You cannot put an algorithm on trial or strip it of its license. Somebody has to be the one whose name is on the decision, whose career is on the line, whose license is at risk, and companies and institutions are going to keep a human in that seat. For exactly that reason, even long after the AI doing the analysis in the background is better at raw pattern recognition than any person could ever be. That accountability gap is going to keep humans in the final decision seat for a long time, even in jobs that lean on AI heavily every single day to get there. I'd also throw therapists and crisis counselors into this category. A person in the middle of a genuine mental health crisis does not want to open an app and talk to a chatbot. They want another human being who has actually felt real pain themselves, who can sit in the discomfort with them without flinching or logging off. That's not a knock on AI. It's simply not what the technology is built for, no matter how empathetic the responses are trained to sound. If you're drawn to a career where you make the tough call and stand behind it fully, whether that's medicine, law, emergency services, or executive leadership, understand that the skill AI can't replace in you isn't your ability to gather and process information faster. It's your judgment, your nerve under pressure, and your willingness to be personally accountable for a decision when the outcome actually matters to real people. Think about it from the other side for a second. Would you actually want the final call on your surgery, your kid's custody case, or a burning building made purely by a machine with no skin in the game and nobody to answer to if it's wrong? Most people say no immediately, even the ones who use AI every single day for everything else in their life. That instinct isn't going away by 2030, and it's probably not going away ever, which means the humans willing to sit in that seat and own the outcome are going to stay some of the highest paid, most respected professionals in the entire economy. So here's your challenge. I want you to go back to those five, the trades, hands-on healthcare, sales, ownership, and high-stakes judgment. And I want you to be brutally honest with yourself about which one you're closest to right now, or which one you'd actually be willing to go all in on starting today. Don't sit on this information and let it collect dust, because everybody watching this video just got the exact same advantage you did. And in every shift like this, the ones who move first are the ones who end up winning big, while everybody else is still arguing about whether the shift is even real. If you're already in one of these five, stop worrying about AI taking your job and start figuring out how to use it to become the best, most efficient version of that career that's ever existed. Use it to work faster, quote more jobs, take on more patients, close more deals, whatever applies to you, because the humans in these five categories who also know how to use AI as a tool are going to out-earn everybody else in their field by a wide margin. If you're not in one of these five, take this as your sign to start making a real plan today. Not next year, not after the holidays. Today, comment below and tell me which one of these five you're going after, because I read every single one of them. And if this video actually gave you some clarity or took a little weight off your shoulders, do me a favor and share it with somebody you know who's nervous about their job right now, because that one share might genuinely be the thing that changes their next 5 years. I'll see you in the next one.